Welcome back to Cuisines and Cocktails. I'm your host, Chef James Jens from Dinners with Class. Today we're all about the Mexican cuisine. My wife and I, we love traveling to Mexico and exploring the lesser known areas of Mexico. And today we're going to do a Baja style ceviche and a tuna tartar, both of which are our personal favorites, and this is just my twist on it. But to start, we're going to do a Pomelo margarita. So to start, we have a margarita glass that's chilling, and we're going to start by adding 2 ounces of tequila. I like a slightly aged tequila, añejo. And this is a pomelo. It's a very large tropical fruit, grapefruit. And we're gonna give 1 ribbon, and we'll save that for the garnish. And then I'm gonna just cut in half and squeeze out some of the juice. If you can't find a pomelo, you can definitely use a grapefruit. All right. We're gonna do the same thing with the lime. Again, we're gonna just roll it so we can crush it to get a little bit more of the juice out. And I find a fresh lime in a margarita is so much better than a mix or a concentrate. And we'll add the 2 halves straight to the mix. Put our glass on, shake it up. Our glass is cold. And we're going to take our pomelo zest, and we'll just rim, float it in. And enjoy. Next we'll do tostadas, ceviche, and some cumin chips. Alrighty, we are going to do the cumin scented tortilla chips and the Baja seafood ceviche. So we need a hot pan and a liberal amount of oil so we can fry the chips. While the oil is getting ready for the chips, we can prep the seafood. And in here, we're gonna put some loosely chopped cilantro, some shrimp, and we're just going to cut it up so it's a little bit easier to eat once we have it, because we're going to serve it with the chips, and you're going to eat it with the chip as the vessel to eat it. So try to have it bite-sized pieces. And we're going to do tomato. And here's a fun little tip. If you hold a paring knife kind of about a half an inch away from the tip with your thumb, you can poke it in and pivot around your thumb on the tomato. It's an easy way to core tomato. And we're just going to dice up a tomato. We're going to add scallops, and I want to show you something about scallops. Some people know, some people don't, but most scallops have what's called the foot, and it's this little piece of flesh that is just on the back, and it's the back side of the scallop, and it holds the scallop to the shell and makes the shell go up and down. So you want to make sure that that's off, because this will get real rubbery and chewy, and we don't want that in our ceviche. So again, we're just going to cut it just once, just to make it so it's chip size. And when we're done cutting these up, we'll again add them to our mix. And since crab meat is pasteurized, we'll add that closer to the end because it doesn't need to sit in the acidic liquid to cook. A bit of green pepper, some are leftover red pepper, some onion. Basically, this is kind of like making a salsa with seafood. If you wanted to, you could add an avocado to this. And kind of, again, make it your own. So I'm going to leave the seeds in the jalapeno. I like it with a little bit of spice. If you're not a fan of spice, you can definitely remove the seeds. And you know what? I got another pepper. I'll show you how to do that. Cut the end off, slice down, and then you can, kind of like what we do with the bell pepper, just roll it right around, and you'll get the whole seeds and the pith out all at once. That way you'll get a little bit less heat out of the pepper. Okay, so in with our mix, we're going to do about a 1/4 cup of white wine vinegar, a 1/4 cup of rice wine vinegar, about 2 tablespoons of sugar, about a tablespoon of salt, and then we're going to add a little bit of tomato juice. And we're going to stir this around, and we're going to let this sit on the side for about 20 minutes or so, and we're going to let the shrimp and scallops cook. And then about 5 minutes till we serve, we're going to add the crab to let the crab macerate and get all these great flavors into the crab too. So I'm going to switch out the cutting boards, get nice clean, wash my hands from the seafood, and then we're going to make chips. Okay, so we're back and we're going to make the tostadas and the cumin-scented chips. We're going to start out with the tostadas, and tostadas are basically just a flat, large tortilla. So we're going to put them in hot oil. Be careful, and again, safety, let it drop away from you, so if it does splash, it doesn't splash on you. And these are going to be for the tuna tartar with basmati rice and black beans. Just flip them over once. Get them nice and crispy and golden brown. And once the oil really starts being mad at the extra oil that is in the corn tortillas, they're good to go. And we'll just let them drain. And before they cool off and dry up, we will sprinkle them with a little bit of salt and pepper to season them, and the oil will help the salt stick. And for the chips, same basic process, but we're just going to come into quarters. And if you have a larger, like a Dutch oven or a Fry Daddy or something like that, 350 is kind of what you're shooting for oil temperature. And it only takes a few minutes. And in my opinion, fresh tortilla chips like this and fresh tostadas are so much better than the store-bought ones that have been sitting on the shelf for who knows how many years. Just kind of toss them around, get them nice and crispy. And with these, we're going to, again, salt and pepper, but we're also going to add some cumin, ground cumin to it. And again, once the oil kind of calms down from getting all the extra moisture out of the tortilla chips, that's when you know they'll dry up nicely when you drain them. Alrighty, these look good. little bit of salt. And some cumin. I love the smell of cumin. Has a nice, almost fruity, earthy smell. So I'll get rid of this and we'll get ready on making the tuna tartare and basmati rice. Okay, so we are going to start with the basmati rice that we're going to then basically do kind of like a fried rice with black beans and some herbs and peppers to serve with the tuna tartare. So with basmati rice, we're going to put that and some water. And we're going to bring this to a boil and we'll put it in the back so we have it out of the way so we can keep going on some other stuff. And then I'll cover it, cook it for 10 minutes and it'll be good to go. For the tuna tartare, we're gonna have sushi grade tuna. And we're gonna do small dices. Okay, we're just gonna cut it the other way just to give a nice little dice. And we'll set this aside and reserve it along with, and in with this we'll do some jalapeno and some green onion. And we'll keep these fairly on the small side. And we won't use this whole jalapeno. Keeping an eye on our rice back there. And to this, we're gonna add a little bit of Adobe powder, which is a type of pepper, some black pepper, and some sea salt. Toss this around. I'm gonna turn the rice down to a simmer, cover it, and that'll cook for about 10 to 12 minutes. And then while that's working, we can add our crab meat to our ceviche mix. Let this sit on the side. We have the crab in the ceviche. We'll let that finish up. We'll wait for the basmati rice to cook. Then we can saute the basmati rice, finish with black beans and some herbs, and then we'll plate. Alrighty. So the basmati is done, and just a couple things about basmati rice. The steam actually, once you bring the water to a boil, is what actually cooks the rice, not the actual process of boiling the water. So just take a fork when it's all done and the water is absorbed, and just kind of fork it so it's nice and loose kernels. And we'll let this kind of steam out and cool off a little bit, and then we'll fry it with some black beans and some vegetables. So we are going to saute with a little bit of toasted sesame seed oil. And again, let the oil become hot. Then we're going to saute peppers, carrots, onions, and some green onions. And we're also going to add a little bit of the sesame seed oil to the tuna, just to give it a nice little sheen and a little extra fat to help with the mouthfeel. So while this is cooking, we're going to add some black beans. We're going to season this just a little bit with salt and pepper. We're going to add a little bit of our basmati rice. And just toast it a little bit to give it a little bit of a kind of like an almondy flavor. So when we come back, we'll plate up and we can have a nice little gourmet dinner. Okay, to plate the ceviche, all we're gonna do is we're gonna let it drain out a little bit, the liquid. Put a couple of good spoonfuls into a bowl. You can either serve chips on the side, or you can, if you want, put them right on the edge of the bowl. So there's our appetizer. And then for the tuna, we're going to take one of the tostadas, and with a ring we're going to take some of the fried rice, and the tuna, press it down, slide into the center, put a top on it, garnish with a little bit of cilantro, and we're good to go. So these are our Mexican cuisine flavors and a Pomelo margarita cocktail. And enjoy a fiesta. This was Cuisines and Cocktails with your chef, James Jens from Dinners with Class.